Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday and a very festive holidays to all of our viewers watching today. We have started off at Stony Point here in Cape Town. We are going to be doing a birding list today, so perfect place to start off to knock off some birds off of our list. So my name is Kerry Dupree, and I will be joining you today as your naturalist presenter. With me as on our director team, we have Tadiwa, and on the tech side we have Marcel. So it's a lovely, another nice, cool day in South Africa today. Most of our locations we're experiencing temperatures of 20 to 26 degrees. I know Cape Town has been a bit windy the last couple of days. So yeah, we're hoping we're going to get some sunshine and some wildlife coming out of some of our locations. So just a reminder that this is a live and interactive experience, so you can watch us on the app, send in your questions and comments, use the QR code on screen now, or if you're watching on Twitter or X, don't forget to use the hashtag @WildEarth to begin the conversation. If there are any birds that you'd like to see at any of our locations, please feel free to send through any of the locations you'd like to check out today. So I am starting off the birding list. We have obviously your Cape cormorants here, the white-breasted cormorants, and we also have a little grey-headed gull. Let's have a look, see which seagull we have on the left-hand side here. Using my new Newman's birding app, very useful for identification in these cases. So we'll have a look which gull do we have here. So now you get the grey-headed gull and the Hartlib's gull. So obviously this looks like it is a Hartlib's gull that we have on the left-hand side of the screen. 3 birds to start off our day. So I'm really excited to see how many birds we can get on our session live at the waterhole today. White-breasted cormorant just on the right-hand side. Oh, and we also have a penguin. Didn't notice a line there. So we also have our African penguin, or also formerly known as the jackass penguin. He looks rather cold, just chilling on the rocks there. They're all giving themselves a bit of a groom, probably been out for a bit of a fishing escapade this morning, all of these cormorants, and perfect time to chill and hang out on the rocks, warm themselves up a little bit after a cool morning out. Quite a lot. I'm trying to count to see how many of these cormorants we have here. Whole little flock of cormorants. We also had a pretty epic sighting the last couple of days of some hyraxes. Let's see if you can see the hyraxes. We've got some more penguins there. And they're cute little flippers. It's amazing how they have the wings of the penguins have evolved and adapted over many years to form little flippers, which especially got a little bathroom break. So yeah, these penguins did used to be flying birds, and eventually, over many decades, have actually evolved into having flippers. So they are flightless birds, penguins, but those little flippers of theirs are specially designed in order to help them masters of the ocean. Really good for swimming. Joanna Miller, thank you for joining us. Yes, I do agree. Stony Point is a great location. There's quite a lot of activity, and if you've been watching the last couple of days, we've had very cute little baby hyraxes that have been suckling, 3 little hyraxes that have been giving us a bit of a cuteness overload. So very cute to see these little critters. Welcome, Catherine. Good to see that you're joining us today. These penguins are hanging around, so yeah, perfect nesting terrain for these penguins here. They make little round nests just within the rocks. one of our hyraxes. Keep an eye out. Oh, there we go. Here's our female hyrax with her little babies. How cute. I know we had some viewers yesterday that were seeing hyraxes for the first time. So if this is your first time seeing hyraxes, this is a rock dussie or the African rock hyrax. Two little babies. So generally the female like this can have anything between 1 to 4 little pups. So they're known as pups, the baby hyraxes. And she does have quite a few sets of mammary glands, so 4 sets of mammary glands or mammae, in order to be able to feed all of her hungry little infants. Harry, thank you for joining us from the Netherlands. I hope that you are having some nice weather. I know that Germany has been quite cold, so Catherine, I hope you're not freezing too much in Germany with all the snow and rain. I guess there's going to be a white Christmas in a lot of the different places in the world are going to have a white Christmas this year. All the snow. Penelope Kenyon, yes, we're virtually smelling this smell of that kelp from the ocean, the sea sand, that salty smell in the air, slight smell of rotting fish somewhere as well. But yeah, lovely to imagine the smells of the ocean. So have a bit of a quiet moment, just take a few deep breaths. Imagine you smelling the fresh smell of that ocean in Cape Town, listen to the waves and enjoy watching these beautiful hyraxes, shall we? We're just having a bit of a quiet moment here, folks. Just imagine you're in Cape Town, sitting on the beach. You've got the sand in your feet. You can feel the sandy ocean, wind blowing that sand and salty air onto your face. And what a lovely view to watch these little hyraxes. They are adorable. Yesterday, one of the infants was lying on its mother's tummy, so the female, she looked like she couldn't even be in a very comfortable posture. She was lying there, she almost looked dead, and one of her babies was lying on her belly. You could see her breathing though, so yeah, very cute. So these little ones will be weaned in about 20 months. Alrighty, folks. Seeing as we're on a birding mission today, why don't we head across to Rosie's pan and see what other birds we can find. Little birds. Yeah, these look like red-billed Aquilia. See, there's quite a big flock of them. So these are the red-billed Aquilia. Looks like mostly females. We're going to do sight and sound for the birds for today, so I can also hear some European bee-eaters calling in the distance. These, oh, there we go. Here's a male Aquilia. Male red-billed Aquilia. Let's have a double check here. The males are a bit more black coloration on their face. Yep, there we go. So the females are normally a bit of a drabbish brown color with that red bill, slightly stripy and mottled on their wings, whereas the males do have a bit more color on the face. So they have a bit of a black face mask. They almost look like they're wearing some sort of superhero face mask. The black male red-billed Aquilia. We no longer have our hippo friend at this pans. We did have some hippos that were, well, one hippo, a male hippo that was residing at this pan, but he seems to have moved off. Let's have a listen to hear what other birds we can hear out there. I'm hearing a lark of some sort. I'm not 100% what lark. So if any of our viewers have any idea which lark is calling there, it could be a flappet lark. Haha. We have a woodland kingfisher calling, also migratory, inter-African migratory bird. Looks like we also have some barn swallows swooping down over the water, coming for a drink. Amazing how when you just stop and listen for a bit, how much you actually notice out there. We spend so much of our lives super busy, moving around a lot, but when you actually take the time to have a listen, have a look, that's when you start seeing a whole bunch of creatures coming out. We've got some European beetles coming down to drink as well at this pan. So Darren, thank you for your question there about birds. Do birds that feed on meat have different stomach acids compared to those that don't, in order to break down the meat and digest? So yes, just like vultures. So vultures have very strong stomach muscles, one, and also very acidic, strong acidic chemicals within their stomach that do help to break down all the food particles and interesting food that vultures eat. So vultures are able to digest very unusual food that most birds would not be able to digest. And that's what makes their dung or their uric acid that they excrete very acidic and very toxic. I know in some areas where vultures do sit on trees regularly, I know some baobab trees that have actually been affected, and in some cases, branches can even die from the very high acidity level in a vulture's dung. So, yeah, it can be very toxic, that acid level. Vultures and even marabou storks will also defecate onto their legs, and it almost acts as an anti-parasitic protection layer for when they're feeding to protect them from bacteria, which is pretty cool. But some very toxic uric acid that is excreted by these birds. I've got another bird in this tree over here. What is that? So Francis, thanks for your question there. Francis is asking about, do small birds control the number of arthropods? So yes, all bird species are very important for the kind of natural environment to control pests, as it be. Red-billed aquilias, for example, are actually a bit of a parasite. Well, they're actually a bit of a invasive species, should I say. In some areas, those red-billed aquilias, they're mostly grain eaters, seed eaters, and they can actually completely destroy fields of maize or plants. Whoop. Hang on, folks. We have a wattled starling. This is a male wattled starling, folks. Check at that. How cool. So we see the wattled starlings quite often in Kenya, but it's very rare to see them. I've never seen them here at Rosie's Pan, and they're actually in breeding plumage. How cool is that? Check out the bright yellow and black on their face. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen those wattled starlings that do flock in huge numbers at Aldonyo in Kenya, but it's must be the breeding season if we see these males in that beautiful breeding plumage. Very, very cool. We often see them throughout the year, but again, it's only for a few months of the year that the males actually change color completely and have this incredible bright color. So you can see this one in the front is obviously a more mature adult, and then it's a more juvenile male at the back. We've also got two red-billed aquilias to the right. How awesome is that? I thought I saw something in that bush there. I was like, what is that? Male wattle starling. That is definitely an awesome bird for the day, and so far my highlight of the day. So these males will try to attract the female with their very interesting coloration. So and obviously the older they get and more sexually mature, the more vibrant that yellow is and the more black they get on their face. So definitely an epic sighting here. Very interesting movement that he's doing. I'm not too sure what he's up to. Could be trying to do some sort of a mating display of some sort. So this is quite a rare sighting. Like I said, you don't often see these males in breeding plumage. So generally you see the big flocks of the females, and the females are just a drab grey color with a bit of black on their wings. If you look closer during the breeding season, you might notice a few males in within the flock. But to see two males on their own is very strange. But again, we probably wouldn't have noticed them if it was a big flock of females. I'm just going to have a bit of a watch here and see what these wattled starlings get up to. It's very interesting behavior. We got a good question from Justice here about millipedes. So millipedes can be food for a lot of bird species. Obviously, millipedes are noxious and toxic. So it's only a very select few bird species that do eat millipedes. The only birds that I know for sure that actually do feed on millipedes is the rollers. So most of the roller family will feed on millipedes. I know that civets also have very high acidity level in their stomachs. So civets are also one of those creatures that can feed on very interesting and possibly noxious species. So Justice is asking how millipedes reproduce. So it's quite interesting how millipedes reproduce. So the male millipede actually transfers sperm to the female by using these specialized legs called gonopods. So these are modified appendages located near the base of his body, generally at the sixth or seventh segment. And during mating, the male will typically mount the female and align his body to hers, and he'll use these modified gonopod legs of his in order to pick up the sperm from his genitalia and insert it into the female. So it's quite interesting. He uses the legs to excrete the semen, and then he implants it into the female. So, yeah, unusual way of mating in millipedes. So the eggs are laid after the female lays the eggs in a very moist, concealed environment, such as soil, leaf matter, or compost areas are very much favored for these millipedes to lay their eggs. She will create a small burrow and lay her eggs within the burrow in order for them to hatch. So generally, millipede eggs hatch into small, soft-bodied juvenile millipedes or nymphs, and the juveniles again can be eaten by many different species before they form their very hard exoskeleton shell. So yeah, quite interesting facts about reproduction in millipedes. I'm trying to see if there's any new birds in this bush here. I'm still just seeing movement of aquilias, but we can also look out on the ground for maybe any spur fowls, francolin, on this tree here. We can also keep a look on the left hand side for maybe any squirrels that might be scuttling about. For now, it just looks like we have a couple of a small flock of Aquilia. What else is out there today? I'm still pretty excited about those mailed wattled starlings. That was quite an awesome sighting. Alrighty, well, it looks pretty quiet here. I think we just got our Aquilia. So why don't we head across to Linpore and see what else we can find at some of our other locations. It looks like we've got a nice big male giraffe that hopefully will come down for a drink. Or maybe not. So we did have a pretty epic sighting the other day of a troop of baboons. There we go. It looks like just one big male baboon, but maybe if we're lucky, some more baboons will come down to the watering hole. Seeing as we're on our birding mission, we can also keep a lookout on our giraffe for any ox pickers. So it would be cool to get some ox pickers. So, Brandy, thank you for your question about the wattled starling. So, yes, they do get almost these little gular flaps down on the sides of their cheeks there. So, yeah, again, an adaptation in order to impress the females during the rainy season. So, we do have some, looks like white-browed sparrow weaver nests, which I can hear. Have a listen, you can hear those white-browed sparrow weavers. Oh, and what do we have here? Oh, is that a baboon? Baby monkey? Oh, no, it's the giraffe still. We'll also keep an eye out for our hammerkops. We had some hammerkop here at the pan a few days ago, breeding pair. I think we've also got the Cape glossy starling flying around. Nope, you can hear our troop of baboons are back. Hopefully they'll keep us entertained. I must say I had quite a few giggles the other day while we were watching this troop of baboons, having an absolute blast at this pan. They were very curious about the camera too. Check at these guys. Cat fan, thank you for joining us today. Happy holidays, and sorry you were experiencing some cold weather in New York. Apparently, your temperatures are minus 13 degrees. Goodness. Please keep warm. Maybe have some hot chocolate and nice warm beverage to keep warm in cold weather. Also, have something. Carla joining us. Actually just started bucketing with rain again in Johannesburg. The rain is pouring down. Temperatures, we were luckily, yeah, we did reach a 20, about 23, 24 degrees about an hour ago, but I'm sure our temperatures are also going to be plummeting here in Joburg. It's one of those cold, rainy days. I'm still hearing the white-browed sparrow weavers. So just a bit of an update from our locations. I know that the obviously had a lot of rainy weather, so it definitely makes guiding quite difficult in the rains. So lots of birding has been underway at our locations on the live drives. I know Hlalamba and Chipondo have been obviously showing themselves quite a bit. I think they were on yesterday's sunset safari in a nice sandy patch. I believe Hlalamba also made a kill, killed an impala. So yeah, hopefully they'll have a nice feast there, and the impala won't be stolen by any of the predators around. Because I know there's been a few hyenas lurking around. Mulwati also showed himself last night on the dam cam. I must say, Mulwati is a very impressive male leopard. But yeah, I know James always complains about Mulwati because he doesn't love the camera so much. So yeah, it can be quite um, elusive. Again, a lot of birding with John and Gerard. I know they saw some emerald spotted doves, cinnamon breasted buntings, little bee eaters, and spent some time with the little dwarf mongoose. So, yeah, nice fish eagle photos from a fish eagle as well on some of our locations. Yeah, look at these baboons. Kachava has also been showing herself as well. I believe Kachava actually has a little cub. So they were seen on Chitwa on the 20th of December on the Sunset Safari by Cedric and Paul. So lovely sighting there. And of course, nice rhino sightings on some of our locations as well. So, no Eric saw some rhinos in Makala the other day, and we had some nice rhino mud wallowing as well. So yeah, lots of hyena activity as well. I know Koa was seen a few days ago, was it yesterday? So yeah, just a bit of an update from our live drives. Looks like with all the weather, kind of rain subsiding, a lot of the animals have been coming out. This baboon had a baby. Yes, a baby. Since we did notice the other day these baboons here in Kenya and Lenotore, they are very fluffy compared to the baboons that we are familiar with in southern Africa. Could be because of the cold weather or yeah temperatures that they do get up in the mountains there. And obviously baboons do spend a lot of time in the mountains, so could be due to the weather conditions. That's why they have very fluffy coat here in Kenya. So Sanjeev Roy, thanks for your question. So Sanjiv's question for the day is why we do not see any wild dogs at the watering holes, seeing as they do thrive and hunt in daylight like cheetah, but both species seem to be really seen at the watering hole. So I think the most kind of hotspot area to see the wild dogs would definitely be on the Juma Cam or Gowrie Dam. I know often the wild dogs come through there to have a bit of a drink, but obviously that dam is dry at the moment. But yeah, shucks, I've had been on drive, and we've had some of our viewers while on the live sunset safari who actually phoned in radio, or sorry, sent a message in that there was wild dogs in front of Gowrie Dam that we couldn't even see, even though we were driving around. So they can be very aloof, very concealed, very well camouflaged. So yeah, and also when they do come to a watering hole, especially wild dogs, they don't generally tend to spend much time. They tend to be quite quick. Let's watch as this impala trying to come down for a drink. Hopefully, so is this big male giraffe. They seem a bit nervous, a bit skittish. Hoping this male giraffe will also come down for a drink. Alrighty, folks, why don't we head back across to Tembe and see what's happening at Tembe Elephant Park today? Maybe we pick up on a few more bird species. Awesome sauce! My goodness, we got a kill. Look, there's a black-headed heron here that's just killed a frog. How cool is this? It's just at the bottom of the screen, right-hand side of the screen. Haven't seen black-headed heron here for a while, and he has got a fresh cuisine for his lunch. Shame, looks like he's bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. That frog is rather large. Don't know how he's going to swallow that frog. Looks like he has some company. Another heron that's hoping to steal his lunch. Let's see what's going to happen here. So, black-headed heron, folks. So, one juvenile as well, an adult and a juvenile, and of course, our woolly neck storks. So, often these storks will catch fish or frogs that might be a little bit too big for them. What they'll do is they'll often try to slap it about as much as they can to make it easier for them to swallow. It looks like he's got some company, and his meal looks like it's going to be snatched away. So let's see what's going to happen here. The youngster's trying to steal this heron's meal. It's pretty cool because we haven't seen these black-headed herons here for a while. There's often a grey heron here, but yeah, how cool to see a kill. Have a small herd of impala also around. What birds do we have? We have some hardy-dar ibises. So we'll keep watching as this heron tries to manipulate his food to be able to swallow. But this youngster is definitely hanging around hoping to steal a bit of frog. Oh, he's possibly already managed to swallow it quickly. So again, it is a quite it can be quite a lot of competition out there in the animal kingdom if you do manage to make a kill, not just with predators but also with birds as well. You'll definitely have a lot of other creatures trying to steal your meal away from you. Yeah, I think that heron managed to very quickly swallow the frog. Now he's having a bit of a drink. Help wash down. Oh, I think you can actually see the frog moving inside this willow flap there. These black-headed herons mostly will feed on frogs, small fish, newt, toads, and any small aquatic invertebrates. But yeah, very specialized hunters of frogs and fish. We'll have a bit of a scan around to see if we can get any other water birds. I know there's often some African jacanas that do roam around in this pan, some white-headed, white-faced whistling ducks as well. Maybe we can get some little moorhens. So Kanye, thank you for your question. Kanye's asking quite an interesting question. How do birds with blunt bills get ticks out of their feathers, like spoonbills? So yeah, very good question there. I'm actually not too sure, but aloe grooming might be a good way for them to assist others in order to help get ticks out of their feathers. Of course, birds do also often use their feet for grooming as well. So they could try to use their feet to remove ticks, or they might have to practice some form of aloe grooming to remove the ticks. Thank you for your question. That's quite a bit of a brain teaser, that one. All right, let's see what other birds are around. Is that a blacksmith, a lapwing? Any crakes? It would be cool to see some crakes in this marshy wetland here. Maybe our impala have some ox pickers sitting on their backs. We had some baby impalas here yesterday, some little ewes that were huddled up. What other birds do we have? So we did have some southern masked weavers that were nesting earlier this year in this big tree. So I don't know if they're still there. Can't hear them. Generally, you can hear them before you see them. Nice to see that we've got quite a few woolly neck stalks coming through. So there's generally 1 or 2 pairs of woolly neck stalks that do hang out at this pan. But yesterday, I think we saw 3 pairs of woolly neck stalks. They're all sunning themselves. Oh, there's our African jacana coming in at number 15 on our birding list for today. African jacana, or Jesus bird, because they're believed to be able to walk on water with those very widely splayed legs of theirs, toes of theirs. They're able to walk on the lily pads. Sorry, folks, if you hear any thunder and lightning. It is bucketing with rain down here in Johannesburg, so apologies if you hear any thunder and lightning. That is coming from the heavens are surely opening and the rains are pouring down. It's lovely to watch this little jacana. So the males do raise the chicks. So the females, once she lays the eggs, the chick raising responsibilities is all up to the male, so he'll be the one to look after the chicks. So I wonder when they're going to receive some rainfall at Tembe. So I know obviously Juma's had a few rainy days today. This week, Tembe's also had some very kind of lurking, cloudy, rainy weather. Some scattered showers as well. Um, and yeah, Rosie's pan, or most of our South African locations on the African cameras have been a little bit overcast, although it does look like lovely weather in Tembe Elephant Park. I can't say the same for Johannesburg. Its weather today has taken a bit of a turn for the worst, and well, absolutely miserable. Anyways, glad to see some sunshine in Tembe. So we have a look out in this acacia thicket as well. Hopefully we could see there is a brown hooded kingfisher that often sits up in this tree, or maybe if we're lucky, our little bee eaters, which I actually haven't seen for quite some time. So nice to hear that they're seeing some bee eaters, little bee eaters over in Juma. So obviously all the birds are coming out to play after all the rains. Penelope Kenyon, I guess you have sent us your stormy weather from KZN because yes, it is bucketing. Apologies, folks. It is bucketing with rain here. I'm not too sure if you heard that little thunder and lightning, but as long as we have sunny skies at our locations, hopefully the wildlife will come out. Not too much activity bird-wise up in here, but you also keep an eye out in these thick acacias for some warblers, cameropteras, or your little bouncy LBJs. You can hear our European bee eaters flying overhead as well. African jacana. Been hearing a black-backed puffback also here at Tembe, and I'm not hearing our sombre greenbill, which is quite unusual. Yeah, the sombre greenbill calling. Looking for some water birds. There's normally a few three-banded plovers that you can expect to see down at the water's edge. So when birding and identifying birds, it's always good to know what kind of habitat you are looking for. So if you have the birders that are going out to find a specific bird, my best advice is to obviously look at what type of habitat that bird resides in. It's also good to as a general knowledge, so that when you're looking in different locations or walking around birding, that you know what kind of birds occur in specific habitats. See some birds flying overhead. Oh, European bee eaters also coming for a drink. Thought I saw some other kind of swallows, so there was. Keep an eye out for these swallows that are swooping down. Alrighty, folks, why don't we head across to Rosie's pan and see what is waiting for us at the watering hole? Like we have a nice big elephant bull that has joined us here at Rosie's pan, coming for a bit of a drink. Possibly a young bull on his own or solitary elephant bull moving through, coming for a bit of a drink. Big elephant bull like this, he's probably in his mid 30s to late 40s, so lifespan. Oh, there's a few more elephants in the background there. The lifespan of an elephant is anything between 50 to 70 years of age, and elephants are actually quite unusual that they. Some animals in captivity actually have a longer lifespan, but elephants I don't think were designed. I mean, most wild animals are not designed to live in confinement or in man-made zoos, but some animals do actually have longer lifespans in captivity, whereas elephants have a much shorter lifespan in captivity. So a sub-adult elephant bull like this can drink anything between 60 to 90 liters of water a day, or anything up to 40 gallons, 20 to 40 gallons. Of course, elephants can go for long periods without drinking, but generally the borderline amount of time they can spend without water is anything between 3 to 4 days. They can spend a maximum of 4 days without water. But they're very intuitive with finding water. So in hard times, when the water is scarce, they will actually dig in all the riverbeds in order to find water. They'll use those feet of theirs and trunks in order to dig for water. It's quite crazy. Elephants can only survive for up to 4 days without water, but giraffe can actually last up to 21 days without drinking any water. Isn't that crazy? Could be a juvenile that's following the breeding herd, because it looks like there could have been a few more other individuals close by. And off the elephant goes. So he'll be heading off to find greener pastures, places that have lots of food, go seek and find his next meal. Whoop. Yeah, dove calling there. Sounds like a ring-necked dove. Or is that a laughing dove? Let me have a quick check. Oh, it could be actually a laughing dove I'm hearing there. Just having a quick scan. Any more birds out there? Any more elephants roaming around? Also listening out for any of those migrant birds, any of the cuckoos. I know Rosie's pan is quite popular. I've heard black cuckoo here before. Class's cuckoo. A good place on the ground here for some larks or maybe another three-banded plover. Just checking in all the bushes. You never know what might be there. Look like small leadwood trees. This area is quite prominent for leadwoods, maybe some African wattles as well. Often tree species can also give you a good indicator of what type of birds. So some big leadwood trees are perfect nesting grounds for hornbill species. Obviously, some dead trees are also great for woodpeckers. Giant trees with holes and cavities would be perfect nesting place for your southern ground hornbill as well. So trees can also be a very good indicator of a bird species. So thorny trees are also used by little birds like your waxbills or little waxbills or firefinches. So they often use these thorny trees to protect themselves from predators. Looks like we've got more company here. Another elephant coming down to the watering hole. So looks like a breeding herd. The female with her two offspring. That's a cool sighting. So while we're talking about trees and animals, so elephants obviously use a lot of plants medicinally, and some research has shown that elephants will actually feed on the bark of some willow trees in order to act as an aspirin or a painkiller, natural painkiller or anti-inflammatory, because these trees do contain some sort of salicylic acid, which does help to neutralize inflammation and help with pain. So really interesting how this information is passed down from generation to generation, from the matriarch to her young. She looks quite round, this female. She could be pregnant. Still possibly a few more months to go. She doesn't look like she's about to pop any minute, but definitely probably maybe in the next 4 to 6 months she might be giving birth. So gestation period of elephants is about 22 months, but recent study has shown that elephants actually have a bit of a longer gestation period, whether their offspring is male or female. So if it's a male that they are going to be giving birth to, the female elephant might have a gestation period of even up to 23 or 24 months. So amazing how we're constantly learning about creatures every day. So the juvenile on the far left, it's probably about 2 to 3 years of age, because you can see the tusks have already erupted. And this little one here, it's got quite a big body size considering it doesn't have any tusks, but it's probably about, I'd say, under a year and a half of age. So we're comparing baby elephant body sizes compared to the mother, and that's a good way to age an elephant. So this baby is definitely at a height in comparison to her mother that she's probably over a year and a half of age, but those tusks are taking some time to erupt. Could be a tuskless individual as well. So, good question there, Spas Income is asking about what is the elephant with the longest lifespan in Africa, and in which country was it recorded? So, Asian elephants have actually been known to live a lot longer than African elephants, strange enough. So, the oldest Asian elephant was lived to about the age of 89 years of age. But generally in Africa, I think the oldest elephant is generally, I think it was actually, so I'll have to do some Googling. But I know the average lifespan of an elephant is 50 to 60 years of age. But I think one of the oldest elephant bulls ever recorded was at least 78 years of age. So, but interesting to know that the Asian elephant longest lifespan or oldest individual was 89 years old. Look at this little baby, isn't it cute? So I'm just having a look at some information here about oldest elephants recorded. So again, obviously, it is quite difficult to age these animals exactly, and a lot of individuals obviously do live older than what we believe their age to be. But some of the oldest elephants are obviously your tuskers, which have been recorded in Kenya. So Tim, I'm sure everyone remembers the big Tusker Tim that died in 2020, and he was one of Kenya's biggest and oldest elephants who survived numerous poaching attacks. And I believe he died at the age of 50. Some other elephants. Casey was another big elephant also in Kenya, and he was also one of the largest recorded African bush elephants. And he also lived to the age of 52. So it seems like a lot of elephants in Kenya that again have been recorded to be within their 50s. Duke was also another very big and very old elephant recorded in Kruger National Park, and his age was estimated to be about 55. But I do know some elephants that have obviously lived older than that, 60. I know there's a few elephants recorded to have died at the age of 60, but so far it seems like some of the tuskers, which are the most well recorded individuals and well watched individuals. So elephants can live to the age of at least 65 to 70 years. But it's crazy to think of an elephant living to the age of 86 in Asia. Oh, of course, look at this little baby playing with the water. Very cute to watch this little baby elephant playing here. So we have another question from Hans is asking, does a small group like this have a matriarch or is she somewhere else? So the big female that just left, she's probably the matriarch of the small family unit. Um, and yeah, it's probably just these three, but again, elephants can splay out in quite a big area, so you can have bigger breeding herds that are splayed out over quite a wide area. But I'm guessing the female that has just left is probably the matriarch there. Now that we're having a closer look at this little baby elephant, you can see its tusks are probably going to be erupting soon, if not have already started erupting. Yeah. So this is probably, you can see those little tusks coming out. Hello. It's giving himself a good old scratch on this log. Someone seems to be getting a little bit frustrated. Perfect little rubbing post, this tree, for an elephant to scratch his face. trying to have a listen to see if we can hear any other birds out there. I'm hearing the aquila. Again, sounds like it could be a pipit or a lark, but I'm not 100% sure on which ones. And this baby elephant's decided to chew his trunk. A little bit of foam in the water here. It could be part of a foam nest tree frog's nest here. So often these foam nest tree frogs, a perfect time for them to start copulating and making their foam nests for their tadpoles to hatch in the rainy season. But sometimes they don't always position their foam nest well above the water. So that's quite a mathematical equation they need to do. So they need to make sure wherever the foam nest is, that when the eggs start dropping out of the nest, that they don't land onto dry land. So if there's no water underneath this foam nest, then those little tadpoles might die because they haven't landed in the water. So you can see the little foam, could be a foam nest, tree frog nest there. This little baby elephant is having the best time in the water. Oh, looks we've got a few other individuals joining us in the pan. So again, it could be quite a big herd splayed across this area. It's lovely watching these elephants. This youngster's really got quite a character, I must say. He's really having fun in the water, giving himself a good old scratch. You imagine being an elephant and you can't scratch yourself behind your ears. So these rubbing post and scratching posts make perfect places to come to give yourself a nice scratch. We've got a ring-necked dove calling as well. You're just joining us today. We're doing a birding list for the day. So any birds we see or hear, I'm recording them down to see how many birds we can get today on Live at the Waterhole. There are some other birds calling which I'm not 100% familiar with, so if any of our viewers can help me identify some of these birds calling by sound, I would much appreciate assistance. There's definitely some pipits. I can hear some pipits or long claws possibly calling. Not 100% sure. This elephant is very strange. What is he up to? Looks like he's actually chewing on this branch. I don't think he realized it's not quite food. Oh, there's an emerald spotted dove also calling, vocalizing. This elephant has a very itchy face, I'm guessing. So be very careful not to impale himself in the eyes. It's amazing how resilient nature is. Obviously, animals do get quite injured out there in the bush. They do get splinters, nasty thorns, spikes, stakes, often foreign objects in their eyes. But wildlife is so resilient, very, very strong immune system. So, yeah, it's crazy what these elephants can actually survive. I know a lot of elephants that have very nasty injuries. I know one elephant that got yeah, it was an elephant bull. He had an injury. He generally tended to hang around camp. His name was Tembe, and Dembe, sorry. He was one of the elephants that used to, forest elephants that used to hang around our camp when I was working in West Africa. And yeah, shame. He had a very bad limp. And obviously, some other bulls came and they had a bit of a fight with him. He wasn't able to run away. He got a nasty gash on his hip where a whole panel of skin ended up completely coming off. And I mean, when I say a whole panel, it's probably over how much? Probably over 3 kilograms of skin that I think fell off. Very nasty, big cut. And yeah, it was quite horrible. And he managed to survive. You barely even saw 6 months later, you could barely even see he'd been injured at all. So nature is very resilient. Nina, good question there about if I have ever seen elephants getting annoyed at birds. So, not generally, but I have seen baby elephants chasing away storks and herons at watering holes. Again, baby elephants can be very playful and mischievous. And yeah, I have seen little baby elephants chasing animals away from a watering hole before. You can see all these elephant pathways coming and going from the watering hole. It's a good place to look out for tracks, any sights and sounds of birds, wildlife, any activity, any movement. Little birds will also use, so often birds and small animals will use pathways of elephants. It's amazing how elephants are carve these pathways in the bush as they move, and these pathways can also be used by lots of other animals. Oh, hello, big boy. Looks like we have another big boy elephant bull coming to join us at the watering hole. Shame he's got a bit of a damaged tusk. So, yeah, elephants will often damage their tusks like that while fighting with one another or feeding. They can very easily break off their tusks, but it's just like our hair and nails made of keratin, and yeah, it just regrows back. So yeah, unless the tusk breaks off with inside the cavity or canal inside the actual jawbone itself, then it can be quite painful. But if they lose their tusks while feeding, if it's just the tip of their tusk, you do often while walking through the bush find pieces of elephant tusk, especially while mining. Also, I didn't realize that elephants can also break off their tusks while they're digging in the soil for minerals. But yeah, it's not painful to them unless it does break off quite close to their jaw there. And then they can actually get this parasite. It's actually like a boring parasite that actually can bore if the crack goes far enough into the jaw. This little boring creature can actually bore into an elephant's brain, and that can also cause them to have a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort and have very unusual behavior. So, be very careful of these individuals. Why don't we have a bit of a quiet moment to listen to this elephant splashing and spraying himself, breathing, and hopefully he'll go for a bit of a swim. Come on, big boy. No, I think this elephant has some company. Whoop. Sorry, folks. I think we. Oh, something's happened here at Tau. Oh my goodness. Looks like this crocodile has just made a kill. What on earth has he got in his mouth? No, these crocodiles have been rather hungry and trying. Earlier in the week we had the one crocodile that tried to kill a wildebeest, but definitely looks like this crocodile's managed to kill something. He's got something in his mouth. How cool is that? If we watch for long enough, we might be able to see what he has managed to kill. Doesn't look too big. Could have been a bird. Maybe he was hungry as well. Just took a chance and snapped on one of the water birds at the watering hole here. Let's just have a wait, see what we can find. In the meantime, I'm going to quickly take down some birds. So we have some three-banded plovers, black winged stilt, a shelled duck, Egyptian goose, and white-faced whistling ducks at the bottom of the screen here. Maybe if we can zoom closer in, we can see what this crocodile has in his mouth. Moving much. What do you have in your mouth, boy? So yeah, they've been trying to make a kill. I know the same crocodiles in this pan also tried to kill a zebra earlier in the week, but with these dwindling water levels, it can be a bit of a challenge for them, and that's why our wildebeest managed to live to see another day, is because there was not enough water for the crocodile to actually drown that wildebeest, so he managed to get away. I'm glad that they've managed to find something to eat. Of course, he's lying very still. Often, when crocodiles are making kills, they can fight over food, just like we saw the black headed herons fighting, chasing one another for food. So, will crocodiles take the advantage to try and steal a meal from somebody? Well, it looks like we've got some more birds. We've got a red billed teal on the top right of our screen there. Come on, Mr. Crocodile, what do you have in your mouth? Just going to zoom in closer to see if we can figure out what's in this crocodile's mouth. Oh, I must say, crocodiles do give me the heebie-jeebies. They are very scary creatures. So I don't know if any of our viewers want to send in your comments about what your least favorite, what are you most afraid of in the bush when it comes to wildlife or animals. So use the QR code on screen now to send me your comments. Crocodiles and sharks are my least favorite creatures in the animal world, I must say. I am quite petrified of both of them. Okay, looks like he's going to move. Oh my gosh, what has he got? What has he got? Is that a water buck? Is it a bush buck? He's definitely got an antelope of some sort. Shame poor. I know everybody needs to eat, but this crocodile finally managed to make a kill. Could be a young water buck of some sort, I'm not too sure. See, all the ducks are gathering around, forming a bit of an encore. So I thought he just had a tiny piece of something in his mouth, but it looks like he's actually got a whole carcass of something. Shames. Crocodiles, I know they do go through a bit of an estivation phase or stage during the winter where they don't necessarily need to eat as much. They don't move as much. They don't feed as much as normal. So it's like a torpor state where their bodies slow down a little bit. But after the winter season, then they're definitely out and about, hungry, ready for some food. We'll try and get a bit of a closer view of what this crocodile has in his mouth, but just with the size of this carcass, does look like it could be maybe a bushbuck of some sort. So, Mindy, it is quite odd that this crocodile was just sitting there with food in his mouth. I think he's trying to get away from the other crocodiles. There are 3 crocodiles that do hang out in this pan, so he could be trying to keep his kill away from the other crocodiles, seeing as there's not much water. Yeah, I think he's definitely trying to keep his kill for himself. So, yeah, how crazy. Finally, this crocodile made a kill. Come on, Mr. Crocodile, show us what you have. I had no idea it was a whole carcass. Now's when I wish I had my binoculars and I could just use my binoculars to zoom in, see what's there, what is in his mouth. Don't think it will help in this instance. What have you killed? Crocodiles do have very acidic stomachs, and this acid does help to break down a lot of the food that they eat. Obviously, when feeding, crocodiles will swallow bones, hooves, skin, everything, whatever they catch, they swallow their food whole. And this very strong acid in their stomachs, as well as they do have these almost gizzard stones, which do help to break up the coarse food that they digest. So most crocodiles generally do need to eat, don't need to eat as too often. In fact, most crocodiles, a big crocodile like this, of like 4 or 5 meters, they only need to have about 50 full meals a year. And when we say full meals, that's a whole carcass of an animal, or at least a decent portion of food. But from time to time, obviously, they might feed on smaller birds, even fish. The crocodiles can substitute their diet with fish in times that they might be quite hungry. But as long as they have a decent meal every now and then, they can actually go for quite a few weeks or months without feeding. The longest period recorded that a crocodile has gone without feeding was anything between 2 to 3 years without eating. Generally, they do need to eat every couple of weeks to months, depending on the size of the crocodile. These are very well adapted and developed creatures. Over millions and millions of years, they've evolved to be able to survive in this natural environment. So, just more figures for you there. So, on average, oh, crocodile's moving again. To the left, he's moving. So, I think this will be a good opportunity to see what he is carrying. Ducks are surely following crocodile around. What has he got? What has he got? Just trying to get a better angle. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll see him eating his food. Egyptian geese seem very curious of what this crocodile has. So I do think this crocodile's trying to get as far as he can away from the other crocodiles so that he can eat his meal in peace. Obviously, it does take a lot of energy, a lot of effort for a crocodile in order to make a kill, and dragging this prey of his is also very tiresome as well. But I think he's trying to get as far away from the other crocodiles as possible, otherwise he could stand a chance of getting his meal stolen from him. They have very long digestive system, crocodiles, obviously, because they do eat their prey whole. They can take anything between 10 to 20 days to digest their food and obviously eliminate all of the yeah, hard bone and tissue that they might be swallowing. So it's a bit of a difficult position, folks, for us to zoom in. Sorry, we can't zoom into the crocodile at this angle that he's in at the moment. It's a bit of an awkward place. But yeah, just keep an eye on him, see what he gets up to and where the other crocodiles are. So I'm looking in these muddy puddles to see if any of the other crocodiles are close by. And that's why he might be trying to seek refuge and take his kill far away. A little bit of excitement from Tau Lodge today, so rather exciting. I do hope that they receive some more rainfall here in Madikwe Private Game Reserve because it is looking very dry here at this location. The puddles are drying and dwindling by the day. So Liverpool bird, that is a very good question. I'm not too sure why the Egyptian geese are following this crocodile, especially because Egyptian geese are herbivores and they mostly feed on grass and seeds. So it's not like they are hoping to get some of the scraps from whatever the crocodile is eating. I think they're just curious, to be honest. Just curious of what the crocodile is feeding on. These crocodiles are obviously very agile and rapid hunters. They do rely on their movement and pressure sensors in order to catch prey. So it's quite fascinating that a crocodile can be submerged in a pan or a dam quite a distance away from any movement, and they have these kind of sensor or receptors at the end of their snout, and that helps them to pick up on any movement in the water. So that's how they can pick up on anything happening, and these sensors do help them very much to catch their prey. Obviously, they do have a lot of patience while waiting underwater for the perfect spot for them to launch themselves out of the water by using that very strong and thick tail of theirs to grip onto their prey and bring it into the water to drown their prey. So probably because this was a smaller antelope, that's how he was able to drown this bushbuck in the water, whereas other day with the wildebeest he could stand in the water. So it was not in the crocodile's favor, and the wildebeest did manage to get away. So, considering crocodiles are such large animals, they do have a relatively small stomach. And, big crocodile like this of 4 to 5 meters, their stomach is on average the same size as a basketball. So, quite crazy how. There we go, some more movement. So, if you see what he just did there, he just flicked that carcass to the side, maybe ripped off a piece of leg or something. So, I think he's trying to break carcass up in order to easily feed on some pieces. So he could have been holding on to a piece of the head or a leg or something, and he's just flicked a piece of the meat off and managed to swallow a piece. Obviously, this movement will attract other predators, so that's why he's trying to find a private place to consume his meal, which the Egyptian geese seem very curious about. So Mindy, very good observation there. Definitely agree with you. So with the water levels being so low, it's probably difficult for him to soften up the meat in the water in order to be able to break it up into smaller pieces. And again, anywhere that he is in this water, there's not much place to escape. There we go. You can see, I think he's going to go for another bite. This crocodile just on the left-hand side. So Mindy, I agree with you there. Imagine sitting at this camp watching a crocodile making a kill. Definitely a bring your own antelope to work day for this crocodile. Now, I know a lot of camps in southern Africa or in Africa where you get incredible sightings. I think there was a few videos that were going around from Sabi Sands, some lodges on the Sabi Sands earlier this year of crocodiles on golf courses that had made a kill, and there was another leopard that was fighting with a crocodile for a kill as well. So it definitely is a lot of nature out here, a lot of wildlife encounters and experiences happening every day. This is so cool. Really, really fascinating to watch. It would be pretty cool to be sitting at this lodge right now here at Tau Game Lodge. Egyptian geese again are very, very curious. I think because they're so territorial, Egyptian geese, it's why they're probably hanging around, wondering what this crocodile is up to. And I think the crocodile's hoping not to attract the attention of the other crocodiles, or he could lose half of his lunch. I just wish he would come a little bit closer, this crocodile, so we could see him a bit better. He's in a bit of a tricky spot, a bit of a difficult angle for us to zoom in here. We'll try our best and watch and wait and see what this crocodile gets up to. Dying to see what this is. Definitely looks like it could be a young male bushbuck. Shame, I think that was his head that just got ripped off by the crocodile. Got any of the viewers watching, now would be a great time to take a screen recording. See what this crocodile gets up to. Probably try and grab a piece of leg and rip a leg off. Oh, look at those beady eyes. Goodness. I am not fond of crocodiles. So please, I've asked a question earlier about what is your least favorite creature to see in the bush. So the other day we asked about insects, but today I want to know about mammals. What is your least favorite mammal? My least favorite mammal, obviously, well, it's obviously reptile, is crocodile. Oh, can't stand crocodiles. Do have a lot of respect for them, and I'm not very fond of sharks. So what is your least favorite creature that just gives you the heebie-jeebies? It sends shiver down your spine. Use the QR code on screen now to send through your comments. So Mindy, thanks for your question. So yeah, crocodiles don't really chew their food. They use what is called the death roll. Often what they'll do in the water is they'll grab onto a piece of meat and then they'll roll around trying to get off as much meat as they can. Or in this case, you can see the crocodile's actually trying to rip off pieces. So he's flicking from side to side, trying to rip off some pieces of meat in order for him to be able to consume. So they just swallow their food, so they don't chew their food, crocodiles. Okay, perfect angle. Thank you so much to our Zoomy. You've given us a great angle here for bushbuck's head is already gone. I think he'll probably go for one of the limbs next. So please, yeah, definitely, if you have a sensitive stomach or viewer discretion is advised. Not too sure what's going to happen from here. Could be some guts involved. If you're a bit of a sensitive viewer, please, viewer discretion is advised. Catherine, I agree with you there. Identification without a head can be a bit difficult, a bit tricky. But yeah, because of the size of this little antelope, I'm going to go for juvenile bushbuck. It also could be a young waterbuck as well. But if we have any viewers that would like to send in a recommended ID of our poor little antelope that has become the crocodile's lunch, please feel free to send through the comments as well. It's really cool to see this crocodile out of the water, because often a lot of kills from crocodiles are in the water, so you don't see much that's going on. Again, like we said, he's probably quite tired, quite exhausted. That's why he is taking his time to feast upon this poor antelope. Come on, Mr. Crocodile. So now, obviously, game viewing and being in the bush is all a patience game. So if we're patient enough, hopefully we can see a bit more activity. Thank you for your comment, Lenny. I guess hippos is not your favorite creature. I believe they do. Oh, what's going to happen? Oop. Oh, shame. So Lenny's least favorite creature is a hippo, and I guess those massive head and jaws do freak you out. Yeah, I must say, if you're on a boat or anywhere near the water, hippos can be quite frightening. Yeah, they can cause quite a lot of damage with that bite of theirs. So definitely give hippos enough space and respect them as much as possible. Not my favorite creatures. So Liverpool bird. Guess your spiders and scorpions are one of your least favorite creatures. Yeah, most of our clients that I have on safari, it's always between snakes, scorpions, and spiders. Those are generally the three most unpopular creatures in the bush. I've had a few clients that are petrified of elephants and hippos. But again, I think they had a bad experience and, of course, did the worst thing possible and went and Googled a whole bunch of hippo and elephant attack videos. And then that just, yeah, sent them over the edge a bit, which I would say is not a wise thing to do. I mean, these attacks do happen, but it is very rare. And if you have a good guide with you, you shouldn't have to worry about anything like that. I'm just trying to get a better. I hope this crocodile will move this kill a bit, because now we don't have much of a sight of him. And if I get to see this kill a little bit closer, I could also guess might be, yeah, between a bushbuck, but it also could be a waterbuck. Oh, yeah, there we go. Whoa! Look at that piece of meat that just came off. So yeah, he's obviously twisting and throwing this carcass about, which is helping him to be able to feed on it easier. And yeah, I'm definitely going to go with a small waterbuck. Watch this guy go. This is a huge crocodile, probably easily maybe 4.5 feet. And yeah, he's probably killed a little baby waterbuck. Just because of the shabby coat. It's got a very dark brown shabby coat, and I'm not surprised if it's a waterbuck, because you often get We have had quite a few waterbuck here at this pan. They come down to feed on this green vegetation down at the pan here at Tower Lodge, and that's probably when a crocodile took his chance to make a kill. Got a little tinkerbird calling there, probably a red-rumped tinkerbird. It's really cool to be able to watch this crocodile kill today. Unfortunately, this is a bit of a patience game, but it definitely is paying off watching off this crocodile. Very curious Egyptian goose. What is going on here? Catherine, thanks for your story about your hippos. Apparently, you got away with a few very close encounters. So, yeah, please, viewer discretion is advised if you're watching and have a bit of a sensitive stomach. This crocodile is feeding on a baby waterbuck, it looks like. Joanne Miller, I guess you're also not a big fan on elephants or hippos. Yeah, obviously they can be quite dangerous animals, but again, as long as you're with a good guide and the guide is ethical, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. But yeah, these big creatures do deserve a bit of respect and also some space. So just watching this crocodile, shame he's obviously struggling to rip some pieces of meat off here, and this is quite a big chunk that's still left. So baby waterbuck like this will probably be weighing anything between, say, between 20 to 30 kilograms, and there's no way this crocodile can swallow the whole front quarters by himself. So he's trying to rip apart some pieces off of this kill so that he can swallow the rest of his lunch. So I was mentioning the waterbuck have been coming down to feed on this green grass and green vegetation down by the water. Obviously, there's not much greenery at Tau Lodge and Madikwe Game Reserve. So yeah, waterbuck have been spending a lot of time close to the pan, and maybe this young waterbuck was a little bit brazen and got a little bit too close to the water. And these crocodiles have been hiding and blending in very well to the all this muddy or murky water, and took this little waterbuck by surprise. Again, the disadvantage to having such a small prey species. So if a crocodile has killed a bigger animal in the water, it's a lot more easier for these crocodiles to bite onto a small piece, and as I mentioned, engage in the fatal death roll, and rip off pieces of their kill. So that's what crocodiles will often do. Is there's dead elephant or a dead hippo in the water, crocodiles will engage in this death roll to rip off pieces of meat. But this crocodile seems to be having a little bit of difficulty breaking. This is crazy, so cool to watch. I hope someone's screen recording this because this is really epic, exciting to see this crocodile trying to rip pieces of this poor water buck apart. So Penelope Kenyon, I agree with you there. These Egyptian geese are definitely have quite a morbid curiosity. They're coming in to check out what's happening with this crocodile. Although, like I mentioned, Egyptian geese are herbivores, so there's not much chance they're curious or want to eat bits of scraps of this kill. They're just very curious to see what's happening with this crocodile. You will get, if there's marabou storks in the area or kites, yellow-billed kites or any other smaller birds of prey, they will hang around trying to pick up on a free morsel of food here and there. But those Egyptian geese, I think they just have a bit of a morbid curiosity. Thank you for your comment there, Penelope Kenyon. Oh gosh, sounds like you had a interesting encounter with an Egyptian cobra. I do not blame you for not being a fan. Those are very dangerous snakes, and yeah, definitely you're going to want to get to a hospital as quickly as possible. So glad you didn't get bitten by that Egyptian cobra. Yeah, it can bites from a snake like that can be fatal. So I don't blame you. Julian Thomas, mosquitoes. I guess mosquitoes. You're not a fan of mosquitoes. Uh, yeah, they are quite a nuisance, little things, and some regions can also carry malaria. So definitely one of the biggest killers in Africa. So a lot of people every year actually die due to malaria. Apparently, there has been a vaccine developed for malaria. I know they are testing it at the moment in Kenya, so I'm desperate for that vaccine to get to Southern Africa. Definitely be keen to take that. Definitely useful vaccine. A lot of people in Africa every year do get malaria. I have had malaria twice myself, so yeah, it's not something I want to get again. I know in Mozambique, a lot of people get malaria in Mozambique, and even young kids at the age of 10, some kids have already had malaria 3 4 times. And again, it's terrible for your organs. Really, really, it damages your kidneys, your liver, and it can. A lot of people have believed or have thought that it can even be linked to why a lot of people in Mozambique don't actually live very long, because their organs start failing at a young age, and it could be linked to why to malaria and people having malaria many times. So good question, Bryant. Yeah, this crocodile seems to be having quite a challenge ripping apart this leftover carcass of the water buck. I think he's actually quite tired, so he'll try every now and then to flick it about, but I think he's actually quite exhausted from the hunt and dragging this carcass away from the water. But yeah, he does have to be careful, because if there are any other predators in the area, he could have his kill taken away. But yeah, obviously, a hunt like this can take up a lot of energy from these crocodiles, so it can drain a lot of their energy. And obviously, he's just trying to. Hopefully, going to be some movement. Let's see. Come on, Mr. Crocodile. Now's the time to get your camera ready for a screen recording. I'm sure he's going to move again. Patience, patience, patience. Come on, Mr. Crocodile. Oh, there we go. Oh, that was quite a big piece he just swallowed there. Okay, digesting something like this with hooves, fur, and all can be quite tiresome for these crocodiles. As I mentioned, it can take anything between 10 to 20 days for a crocodile of this size to digest this whole meal. Looks like he just has one piece left. So yeah, like I mentioned, crocodiles will feed on fish from time to time. If times are tough and they don't have much food, they can feed on fish quite a lot of the time. It does form quite a large amount of their diet. It does look like a healthy individual. It's very well fed. So, the reason these crocodiles are such successful predators and creatures in the natural world is because they have very few natural predators. So, yes, baby crocodiles can be eaten by a lot of predators, including birds, other bigger crocodiles, fish. But once a crocodile gets to this size of 3 to 4 meters, they have very few natural predators. And that's what kind of gives them a very permanent armor of very hard shell scales. So you can see the scutes or scales on their back make it very difficult for them to be injured. They mostly get injured when fighting with other individuals, with other crocodiles. So they almost have like a cast iron shield around their body. So they can survive even very serious injuries. I've seen crocodiles before with half a jaw or the top jaw missing or bottom jaw missing. So again, this can happen while fighting, but it's incredible how resilient they are and they can actually survive without part of their jaw. So very serious injuries, and even when fighting with other males, they can get their limbs or tails torn off. But because they have such a powerful immune system, it helps them to survive any injuries. looking around to see which way he can grab this piece of meat. Hopefully he can swallow and consume the whole carcass without being bothered by any other predators. These are ectothermic crocodiles, and they have their own internal thermostat, and that's why they bask inside the sun in order to absorb as much heat from the sun as possible. And they will, yeah, a lot of the heat is actually absorbed through the scutes on their back there. So you can see those big scutes do help to keep a lot of the heat so that at night they can keep their body temperature regulated. So Lilo, yes, sometimes crocodiles feed very slowly like this. Again, especially because he's obviously not worried about getting his kill taken away from him by other crocodiles. Maybe the other crocodiles have not noticed that he's got a kill, so he's managed to take his carcass far enough away from the other crocodiles not to be threatened. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So these crocodiles do have a very extraordinary adaptable diet. So larger mammals, oh goodness, still quite a lot of this carcass left, actually. It's really struggling to get it to break apart. See that fluffy, shabby hair of the waterbuck? Are opportunistic hunters, these crocodiles. So their diet is very undiscriminatory, so they will eat anything they think is a good meal. So they will lie in wait in water and anything they think is adequate meal for them. That's why you do get a lot of people in Africa that get attacked by crocodiles. Crocodiles are very observant and they do take note of behavior and kind of what's happening around them. So if they see people coming down to the water, to the river to collect water, do the washing, do some fishing, they will be very observant of this behavior and take a chance to make a kill when need be. Do live quite solitary lives. Obviously, there are 3 crocodiles hanging out in this pan here at Towel Game Lodge, but yeah, they can be very solitary, males and females, so only getting together for the breeding season. Please stay in screen, Mr. Crocodile. It's going to a very unusual place. Again, maybe he's trying to get closer to these rocks, to use the rocks to help him rip apart these pieces of his kill he has left. Mindy, I agree with you there. How awesome. I know we have to have some patience for some activity here, but very awesome to be able to watch this live. And yeah, it's incredible the opportunities that technology can provide. It's just as you mentioned earlier, Mindy, it's like we're sitting, imagine sitting on the veranda of your room at Towel Game Lodge and watching this crocodile feeding on a carcass with your camera, binoculars, patiently waiting for that perfect shot. Apparently, crocodiles have very complex brains, so because they're such a powerful predator, they have an excellent sense of smell and very superior sound perception. So they have the ability to avoid dangerous situations, and researchers have also found that they have got a modified technique of capturing crocodiles. So yeah, if you go out hunting for crocodiles, to be very, very quick because they are very hard to catch, especially twice. If they've been caught before, a crocodile is not likely to be caught a second time. So sometimes what happens with crocodiles in areas that they might have become a problem killing livestock, because crocodiles are known for killing cattle and livestock in some areas. They will try to catch and relocate these crocodiles. Yeah, in some areas they've actually found crocodiles walking into villages, and then that's when experts need to be called in to actually catch the crocodiles. And how they catch crocodiles is you need to get behind the crocodile, You have to jump onto their back as quickly as you can, grab their mouth so that they cannot bite you. You strap up the mouth, and then yeah, you need to get some people to help you carry. I mean, a big crocodile like this, about 4 or 5 meters, probably need about 5 or 6 people to help you carry this crocodile. It's quite a big boy. And we have a little white-faced whistling duck also coming to see what's happening. It's quite fascinating how all the geese were very curious of what was happening with this crocodile. Come on, Mr. Crocodile. I think he's trying to use those rocks next to his head there as a leverage to try and squash. I don't think he can swallow that whole thing. Oh my goodness. Or just something just flew out, looked like a piece of heart or spleen or something, but he's quite strong, and he's actually lifting up this carcass and smashing it into the rocks to try break some pieces off. What an epic sighting. So there are some elephants at Tembe Elephant Park at the moment, but this is quite an epic sighting of this crocodile ripping apart this poor little water buck. And I'm praying that by the end of the show he would have hopefully consumed this whole water buck. But yeah, he's definitely struggling to get pieces to rip off. So it's not always a problem when you have other crocodiles. When there's two crocodiles trying to rip at a carcass like this, it does very quickly rip open. But this carcass seems to be quite difficult for this poor crocodile. I wonder what's going to come and pick up on the scraps here later. So I'm sure we'll have some activity here of some predators coming to smell what has died in the area. Come on, Mr. Crocodile. Jamie's probably going to be rather exhausted after this meal. So I'm hearing a puffback, so just to update on our birding list for the day, we have 30 birds that I've managed to record today. Oh, come on, guy. Whoa, check at that. He's managed to rip off one of the legs, which he's now swallowing. What an epic sighting. Come on, Mr. Crocodile. Good question, Bandle. As asking about, did the crocodile manage to catch this water buck on its own, or did it steal this carcass from another individual? So I'm not actually too sure. Um, when we tuned over to the crocodile here, it had already, if you whoa, imagine the biting force of that crocodile. Oof, it looks like a rather uncomfortable piece to swallow. How cool is this? Don't they look like dinosaurs? Crazy. So yeah, I'm not too sure if this crocodile stole the carcass from someone else. By the time we tuned in, he was already on the bank, moving away, dragging, yeah, dragging his carcass far away from the other crocodiles. I'm sure he's enjoying this good meal of his, and I don't think he'll need to feed for quite a few weeks while he digests all of this material, bone matter. Joanne Miller, thank you for joining us today. Happy Monday and wishing you all a faithful holiday season. There's just one piece left. I'm sure you'll be able to swallow this piece. So difficult, not sure. Should we change over, see elephants, or continue watching this crocodile? There's lots of activity with this crocodile, and it's not every day we see a crocodile kill. And he is very lucky he's not being harassed by any other species. I'm sure he's probably taken easily over half an hour, 40 minutes to actually consume this whole kill of his that he's got here. Like I said, interesting how the crocodiles swallow their prey whole and actually digest all of that bone, hair, and even hooves. That's why it does take them a long time to digest. Anyway, folks, we're going to stay with our crocodile. It has been an absolute pleasure being with you here live at the watering hole. I'd love to wish all of our viewers from the Wild Earth team and myself a happy holidays and all the best for your Christmas. I hope everyone has a lovely Christmas. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Have a lovely day, folks.